Hello YouTube, my name's Sean Connors and this is welcome back to Outsiders. Today I am actually in my loft and my wife came up with the idea of putting a comfy chair up here and saying, why don't you go in the loft and put the chair in and start sorting the loft out, which sounds like a great idea. But there were some brilliant bits about it because I've had a chance to rummage around in here and dig out some stuff from the past, and this gives me a fantastic opportunity to actually talk to you about some of the stuff that I think is still very relevant today, and it gives me a great opportunity in this sort of DM's mailbag really to cover off a number of questions. And one of the very first questions people asked me was some time ago, and I never got round to answering it really, was about my box, my big black box. Tell us a bit about that. Where did you get it from? Well, that is a long story, but effectively that was given to me. It's actually from a paintball gun. Originally was housed in it, and I was kind enough to be given the box because they knew that I was into RPGs, and it's just a brilliant way of storing things because obviously it's got a foam backing. But my original box, I'm just going to dig out my stuff here, it's here from this company, crystalcast.com. I hope you can still see that. Still around today, and this box is a lot of memories. It's battered, it's bruised. It wouldn't survive another session. It was used so extensively, but I don't have the heart to throw it out because of the amount of games this box and me have been through. So it's odd, but I've still kept it. Then I got digging around, and somebody said, what inspired me to make maps and stuff, and where does that all come from? Well, this particular small snippet here is, you can see it's falling apart. It's about 20 years old. It was one of my very first attempts at trying to do some map burning and staining and stuff, and although it's literally disintegrating before my eyes, again, it's something I didn't want to throw out, and it's got a lot of nostalgia because, okay, this wasn't a very good handout by any stretch of the imagination, but at the time that I did it, this, surprisingly enough, was a great handout. So as you look back at things, two things really. At the time I thought this was rubbish, but the players seem to like it, and that's the most important thing, if the players enjoy it. And the second thing is you learn from it, and I certainly learned a lot, as you've probably seen from my map making videos. So I'd say to anybody that's still trying things out, go for it, give it a go. Be careful whatever you do. If you're burning stuff, be very careful, obviously, but there's no harm in trying things out. I certainly learned a lot by doing this, because I wouldn't be at the degree where I am now when I know what I'm doing with staining and marking and colour tipping pens and stuff on maps, and fading and all sorts of stuff, and it all comes through time and practice. So that's why I'm showing that to you today. And I had a great question from Strolling Bones, who brought a brilliant question up. Was talking to me about Warhammer, and was asking me about how I was going to handle movement within Warhammer, overland distances, on foot, that sort of thing, particularly for the modern Warhammer. And I got thinking about that a lot, and I'd come up into the loft and I thought to myself, well, actually, way back, I used a system, and I have some of them original pencil notes here, and these go back 15-20 years. This is how I used to handle travel. So if you'll allow me to indulge me going backwards here, this is how I would portray travel to the players, and this was based on their mode of transport. And I used to use the old-fashioned first edition sort of rules and that, and I will cover that off in a proper Warhammer program, but for today I'm just going to talk about how I actually describe the travel, because I think this in its own way is far more potent than any sort of graph charts or anything else that you can find. So I haven't prepared this is just one I picked up. I've got quite a few of these for obvious reasons, and here we go. This just describes a small period of travel. So on the 27th of Markday, very cold, treacherous trail but clear sky. After a good morning's travel, you come to a narrow, treacherous section of trail which restricts the group to single file. After careful navigation of this obstacle, you make good ground till nightfall. Horsemanship rolls and toughness rolls for horses. That's how I used to do it. So again, if you were using the modern Warhammer, it wouldn't be too difficult to work out some sort of animal roll there, and probably some sort of maybe fatigue or toughness roll for the players to see if they succumb to the physical fatigue of this cold, treacherous trail. So that's really simple. 28th of Barktag Day, obviously nothing happens at night. Again, still very cold, slight sleet at times, and a slight breeze. As you travel, it is apparent that at some point this day you will have crossed the worst of the mountains, and will reach the foothills by nightfall. Occasionally as you travel, you hear baying and howling, can be heard deep below. Obviously wolves can occasionally be seen. Some even venture to get close to the horses. Horsemanship and toughness tests for the horses. You make camp. You make camp off the trail in high ground and tether the horses. In the morning, you find that so-and-so's horse reins are broken and the horse is missing, so it's obviously broken away from its foot. So what you do there is, on this particular case, you've got to remember I wrote this 15 years ago, is the idea, excuse me, excuse me, I think three's a wish, sorry about that. Yeah, the idea behind this is obviously you're creating some drama within it. So I mean, although this is a little bit amateurish, you've got to remember I did this 15 years ago. The reason I wanted to get up into this loft as well is it gives you an idea of how I was actually handling travel. I was actually describing it, and with a little bit of tweaking, this could be reused. And I think this is a fantastic format for actually any fantasy game, rather than, yeah, it takes some work to think about each day, even a little bit. I mean, I put, 5-6 lines in here, but you can imagine the scene, can't you, with that horse? I mean, it's not too difficult. You could work out which watch it is. The horse, breaks. The horse's rein is damaged. The player may or may not spot it before nightfall. If he doesn't spot it, then there's a chance the horse breaks free at night. It's easy enough to work those things in, but without that level of detail, your world doesn't come across alive, does it? So I really, really like this, and you can see that although on a map I might be able to mark down roughly how far they've gone, I've actually thought ahead about each little piece of the journey, and it really, really added to the overall Warhammer, in this case Warhammer experience, but I think it could easily be adapted to actually any fantasy game. So that's why I'm sharing it with you. So I hope that little snippet is of some benefit to some, and I hope that it gives you some ideas in your games. And finally, if I can find it, yeah, because it's see-through. This is, and I'll probably have to use something against it, so let's just pop something in. Do bear with me while I slice that in there like that. Now, this is a very handy little thing. You pick these up in stationery shops. I find them invaluable because obviously as a DM, when it's on my my screen, I can keep all my relevant notes there. I can even fold a book against it, like I suppose like a dice at a church. But it's a beautiful little thing, and these are about £3 or £4 UK. You don't see them much, but they're still available in a lot of stationery shops. I really like these, and I'm sharing this tip with you because I find it really invaluable for keeping information on, and it's just so handy when you need to pass something around as well, the room, it's just there. Also, you could use it for initiative and things like that if you wanted something very visual. That would work very well. So I thought I'd quickly show you that, as again that was one of the questions that I was asked. So here's been a little snippet in my attic, my cave, which at some point in the future I'll probably turn into the proper roleplay cave that it deserves. But I've been Outsiders. This has been a mailbag programme. I hope you've enjoyed yourselves, and till the next time, happy gaming and take care of yourselves. Bye bye.